Hugo Grotius, also known as Hugo de Groot, was born on April 10, 1583, in Delft, Netherlands, into a prominent and intellectual family. His father, Ludolf de Groot, was a lawyer, a poet and an advocate of humanist learning. This environment exposed young Hugo to literature, classical languages and jurisprudence from an early age. Grotius was recognized as a prodigy, reportedly mastering Latin by the age of 8 and Greek by the age of 10. His early education was marked by an emphasis on classical studies, history, and law, laying the foundation for his later work as a jurist, scholar, and diplomat. In his teenage years, Grotius studied at the University of Leiden, which had recently been established and was emerging as a center of learning in Europe. There, he studied philosophy, law, and theology. His exceptional talent soon gained him recognition among scholars and political leaders alike, and he quickly became known for his sharp intellect and eloquence. Early career and political life. By the age of 16, Grotius had already begun his legal career. At 18, he published a treatise on Roman law, signaling the start of a prolific intellectual life. Grotius's reputation as a legal scholar continued to grow, and he became closely associated with the political and religious controversies of his time. The Netherlands, during the late 16th and early 17th centuries, was experiencing turmoil due to the 80 Years' War against Spain and conflicts between different religious factions, particularly between the Remonstrants, Arminians, and Contra-Remonstrants, Calvinists. Grotius became a supporter of the Remonstrants, advocating for religious tolerance and moderation in politics. His political involvement led him to become Advocate General of Holland and Zeeland in 1607. In this role, he advised the government on matters of law and international relations, and he began developing his ideas on natural law and just war theory. Literary and scholarly achievements. Hugo Grotius is best known for his monumental contributions to international law, particularly through his writings. His most famous work, De jure belli ac paces, on the law of war and peace, published in 1625, laid the foundations for modern international law. In this work, Grotius argued that natural law and reason govern human conduct, even in matters of war. He emphasized that certain rights and principles are universal and inalienable, such as the protection of innocents during war and the concept of just causes for war. His ideas influenced later thinkers, including Immanuel Kant, John Locke, and the framers of modern international law. Another significant contribution was his work on the freedom of the seas, articulated in Mare Liberum, the Free Sea, in 1609. This work argued that the oceans should remain open for trade by all nations, countering the claims of Portugal and Spain, who sought exclusive control over certain maritime routes. Grotius's ideas became instrumental in shaping international trade law and maritime rights. Grotius was also a prolific theologian, writing extensively on Christian doctrine and biblical studies. His intellectual versatility allowed him to bridge legal, political, and religious thought, making him one of the most influential figures of the Dutch Golden Age. Imprisonment and escape. Grotius's political involvement with the Remonstrants eventually led to his downfall. In 1618, the Contra-Remonstrants gained power, and Grotius was arrested for political reasons. He was imprisoned in the castle of Loewe-Vestine, facing a life sentence. Despite the harsh circumstances, Grotius remained productive, writing and studying while in confinement. In 1621, Grotius famously escaped from prison in a book chest, a daring and ingenious act orchestrated with the help of his wife, Maria van Rijgersberg. This escape allowed him to flee to Paris, where he found refuge under the protection of influential French statesmen. Later life and diplomatic career. After arriving in France, Grotius continued his scholarly work and also became involved in diplomacy. He served as an advisor to Cardinal Richelieu, participating in negotiations and representing Dutch interests abroad. During this period, he continued writing on international law, politics, and theology, further solidifying his reputation as a leading intellectual of his time. In 1635, Grotius moved to Sweden, where he was appointed Swedish ambassador to France, a role that allowed him to combine his legal expertise with diplomatic practice. He remained in service to Sweden until his death, promoting ideas of peace, justice, and international cooperation. Death and legacy. Hugo Grotius died on August 28, 1645, in Rostock, Germany, while traveling. Despite his relatively short life of 62 years, Grotius left an indelible mark on law, politics, and international relations. He is often called the father of international law because of his pioneering ideas that law and morality transcend national boundaries. His works continue to influence legal scholars, political theorists, and international organizations to this day. Grotius's life exemplified the intersection of intellect, courage, and principle. He combined the roles of jurist, philosopher, theologian, and diplomat, demonstrating that knowledge can be a powerful tool for justice and human progress. His advocacy for natural law, freedom of the seas, and religious tolerance remains relevant in contemporary discussions of international relations, human rights, and global governance. In summary, Hugo Grotius's life was one of extraordinary intellect, resilience, and influence. From a child prodigy in Delft to the father of modern international law, he navigated political turmoil, imprisonment, and exile, leaving behind a legacy that reshaped the understanding of law, morality, and diplomacy worldwide.